want to point out to you.
And I think those are the people on his short list primarily.
That's right. That's exactly correct.
Right.
That's right. As long as you always supported him. Look, he once said nice things about Nikki Haley. He doesn't say nice things about Nikki Haley anymore.
Right.
Yeah. And you could have a candidate for president from Florida and a candidate for vice president from South Carolina because they're not from competing states. But I always remember in 1960, I have a pamphlet at home that is entitled, "Here's What Democrats Say About Kennedy." And it was all the stuff said about John F. Kennedy prior to his nomination, where he was blasted by everybody. And we're going to see that happen. I think if the Democrats are smart, they'll come out with all the anti-Trump statements by Republicans. Heck, if I were running their campaign, I would have all of Trump's former cabinet officers stand on a stage and say, we'll never vote for him. General Kelly, former chief of staff, absolutely. And Dan Quayle. Can you imagine bringing up people who, Dan Quayle, good loyal Republican, good friend of Mike Pence's, I'm told he's now in Arizona, he isn't going to vote for Trump. Yeah. So, you get all of these things and you put them together cumulatively and you have a real force. Mike Pence's decision not to support Donald Trump is unprecedented in American political history. A former vice president blasting his own president, the guy who plucked him from certain defeat for governor of Indiana. So I look forward to all of these things. You can't go wrong.
Well, I hope you are correct. I mean, there are an awful lot of unprecedented things that have happened, and we've discussed.
Can I throw out something else? I know our time is limited.
Yes.
I want to talk about Ukraine for a moment. The fact is that Ukraine is in big trouble, and the Republicans in Congress are the ones responsible for that, not appropriating money. I don't know if Speaker Johnson is going to survive. He will now have a one vote majority in the House of Representatives.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene has put in a request to basically try and take him out, as I understand.
Vacate the chair. Mm-hmm. That's what she's doing. Yep. And, unless the Democrats bail Johnson out, he is a goner. And all of these things must play heavily. If I were the Democrats, I would be running against that good-for-nothing Republican Congress. And this morning, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu chose to cancel a mission to Washington because the United States did not veto an anti-Israel resolution in the Security Council. The United States abstained. And the thing is, it's the reason the resolution, why we abstained is because there was no condemnation of Hamas. But it would have been just as easy to veto it. I mean, we've got a lot of different political aspects here in terms of foreign policy that are taking place.
That certainly is true. And I wanted to bring up one thing before we go quickly that is not directly in the political realm, but certainly I think ultimately should be impacted by it. And that is the situation around Boeing and all the flaws and problems that they have had with the Boeing 737 MAX.
We're just going to have to wing it on that one.
Yeah, well, I suppose so. And I hope it appears that Boeing has been winging it in terms of their production line because they have not adequately. It appears that they are putting profits over safety, and that is greatly disturbing.
No.
When we
well, you don't say, Beowulf. Really?
Yes, but I mean, and when you see like what the results are in terms of life and threat to human life, this is very frightening, and this is very dangerous. And just today, the CEO and many of the major executives for Boeing have stepped down. I think that's a good start. But I would hope that this would help to usher in a new and more vigorous era of regulation on the part of the government, and that it would take back many of the roles that it had given to Boeing and I'm sure other companies in terms of essentially self-regulation. I think we need a strong regulatory regime in place to make sure that situations like this don't happen, where doors are flying off and bolts are not being put in.
You understand that most people listening to the sound of our voice, if they have an airplane ticket on a United flight, are going to take that flight. because on balance,
that's true.
on a
Although
percentage
I have noted that on many sites they are like providing further up the option to look at what kind of airplane it is, because many people are taking a second look to see whether it is a 737 MAX or not, and some people are making the decision not to do that, given what you say is certainly true.
Yeah, I don't think we are at a point where we're not going to fly. It's too essential to who we are as a nation now. But you're right, there should be concern. And I don't know what the answer is, except Boeing is changing its leadership. But that leadership, by the way, doesn't change until January 1st. So are you going to take that Christmas flight home on United? Are you?
Well, I might take a look at which planes are flying, and I might choose a different flight based on whether the problematic airplanes in question are the ones that are being used. Because Christmas with the family or not, I want to be around to display myself to them, next year at the holidays as well. So I think that's so important, and I believe
that sounds like a Hallmark movie to me. 100%.
Yes. Boeing, Home for Christmas? ? We have been speaking with John Rothmann, the host of Around the Political World with John Rothmann, and these and many other issues will be considered throughout the week and next Monday when he returns with us. Please check out Around the World with John, Around the Political World.
Say it again.
Around the Political World with John Rothmann. You can find it on any podcasting platform.
And Beowulf, may I say, I'm always delighted to wing it with you.
All the best to you, John. Yeah. Thank you so much for being with us today on Facepalm America. I would love for you to check out twosquaredmediaproductions.com. That is the company owned by myself that produces this show, and it is produced by Ace Elson and Rosabelle Hine. I want to thank them also. Please, if you are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can rate and review this program. Please do that. It helps us grow. And until next time. Enjoy the day.